Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I kind of wanted to say goodbye to Charmed and just talk about how much I loved and really appreciate Charmed. And for this video, just because for the sake of everything, I'm going to be talking about the original and the reboot, because that reboot obviously recently ended. But yeah, really quickly, if you're unfamiliar, for whatever reason, don't know what Charmed is a series, this fantasy drama that follows a family of witches. Essentially, it's 3 siblings. In the original series, it's the Hollowells. In the reboot series, it's the Vera sisters. So, but it's basically about these sisters finding out, oh my god, we're witches, and all these magical and supernatural creatures exist. They help out the creatures in the magical world while also fighting monsters and demons, while also trying to balance that with like their regular lives. It's kind of the basic gist of the story. So you have some romance, some magic, some fighting, some drama, just personal struggles between the siblings as just siblings themselves, but also their individual stories. It's kind of a pretty good gist of it. Obviously, there is the original series that ran from, I want to say, 98 to 2006, and then there's the reboot on the CW that aired from 2018 to, obviously 2022. It actually ended last week. I don't know when this video is going to go, whether this might go up Wednesday, so it's been a couple days, but regardless, in fact, if I remember correctly, the original series originally aired on the WB, which is now the CW, if I remember correctly. I think it was a WB show originally. Either way, it doesn't matter. I'm going on a whole tangent. Obviously, I'm mainly making this video specifically for the reboot, because if you're unaware, I really love the reboot. I talked about this countless times. You'll find multiple videos where I reference this, but also most recently, I talked about it again in my review of the series finale. The Charmed reboot might be my favorite reboot, like next to the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I always have to preface that, but I'd probably say TV show-wise, probably my favorite reboot. I love and adore this show because I think it does such a good job paying homage to the original show, having some similarity storyline-wise while also doing interesting things and kind of remixing stuff. The original series will always hold a special place in my heart because I've talked about this ad nauseum as well. But I didn't start getting into Charm until like I was in high school, so about my freshman or sophomore year, I want to say. It was like, I think during the final, like while the final season of Charm was airing, basically on TNT it would syndicate at like 8 and 9 in the morning, and then 4 and 5 in the afternoon. I would watch it in the morning. Sometimes I didn't. Some of the days I was skipping school, I definitely make sure to watch that in the morning, and I'd also watch in the afternoon. I don't think I've ever seen every episode, but I've seen a good chunk of the episode, a good chunk of the entire original series. I know a lot of gist of some of the overarching stories and major plot points. Some of the stuff that obviously got remixed in the reboot, but I think the reboot did just such a good job, like modernizing the show in certain regards, but also once again remixing stuff, but also kind of handling things in their own way, and just, I don't know, I love the reboot so much. And I mean, once again, it's just like Charmed in general. So that's why, like, it's originally this was just going to be like a love letter to like the Charmed reboot, but I figured I might as well add Charmed in there too, because without Charmed we wouldn't even get the reboot. So Charmed will always help. The original will always hold a special place in my heart because of the time frame in which I watched it and everything too, and because I just like legitimately fell in love with the show. Really quickly, I've talked about this story too. My main reason for getting into Charmed is because I've always had the biggest crush on Alyssa Milano, and I was like, oh my god, here's a show I can watch Alyssa Milano in all the time. And I started watching the show more and more and just fell in love with the show. In fact, I've always say this, that I find it ironic that she was my main reason to get into the show. Piper ends up being my favorite character. If you don't know, Alyssa Milano plays Phoebe. But Piper, just because I loved her love story with Leo, and also she had the cooler powers, being able to freeze time and then eventually like combust stuff. So regardless, so that was always just kind of my interesting relationship with Charmed. But yeah. I've also said that I am sad that the show got canceled, especially because, obviously, kind of spoilers, but they got introduced to a new Charm one in season 4, and we only got one season with her, Lucy Barrett playing Kayla. Like, we only got one season with her, and I would have loved to have gotten seen more. I'll probably end up making another video kind of talking about a what if of like if Charmed had continued, but I wish the reboot had an opportunity to live as long, not even just like one more season. I wish it had a longer life. I wish it could have gone like 8 seasons like the original series did too, but sadly that's not the way things are, and I don't think the show was well received. It's one of those things, like I will always remember someone was talking smack about the series, the Charmed Reboot pilot, and they called it Charmless, and I was like, they are a heathen, how dare they? You know, once again, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I don't think the show was ever like the biggest well-received thing. Like, I think it probably fell under the radar for a lot of people. If it wasn't your thing, it wasn't your thing, but it was super up my alley. I'm sure there's people who like the original Charmed who didn't like the reboot. Whatever the case may be, I like the original series, but I really love the reboot. So, you know, maybe that just puts me in the minority in that regard of, like, you know, the show didn't have the, you know, it's on the CW too, so it has even a smaller fan base. But yeah, man, I still thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm sad to have seen it end, but I think the show still ended off on a high enough note that I'm like, okay, you still obviously want more, and you can see the setup for more, but at the very least, getting what we got is kind of a blessing in its own right. So really, that's all I wanted to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day, and goodbye.